This tutorial will talk about how to use the drawing screen with Charts Modulator. This tutorial is the 6th of 8 total. In today's session we'll talk about the drawing screen. We'll start reviewing the ISO grid. We'll then move to the header icons. We'll review the left palette, then the right palette, and finally I'll demonstrate the ability to customize. We'll get started by navigating to www.chartparts.com. We'll then sign in. I'll then have access to the Modulator tab. We'll go to my active project. Right now I'm working on this first floor of the hospital. And we'll go right to the ISO screen since we've already reviewed the qualification details. Okay, we'll start by pulling up my isometric sketch. We're going to be working basically lower left to upper right, with the bulk tank here, and then we're going to have two applications. The bulk tank has an MPT fitting on it, and so our first piece is going to be MPT to male bayonet, and it's going to be about 8 feet long. We're then going to elbow up with item 2, the elbow assembly. We'll then connect to a 10-foot straight section. At the top of the wall we're going to have another elbow, and then a third elbow that will penetrate the wall. This kind of a can denotes that wall penetration. We're then going to put a T in here, a female by male by male T that also has a drop on it, item 5. We're then going to have another 10-foot straight, and then another 5-foot straight, and then another T with some flex on it, and then finally item 9 is going to be a cryo vent. So that'll basically be our design, and I'll be kind of toggling back and forth between the modulator and this sketch. Alright, so we'll get started with the isometric grid. On the left, you'll see basically this is where all of our modules will appear. Not too much is here yet because it's actually smart. Only what's shown is what you can actually bring to the grid. So it's constantly looking for the right connection. Over the top here, we have previous and next. Previous would bring you back to the details screens. Next would bring you to the pick list. Always be sure to save when you're, before you leave the isometric grid. Otherwise, you could potentially lose your design. There is a warning sign that'll show up. This will basically expand you to full scale. This one will clear the module that you have. I'll demonstrate how to rotate. This allows you to rotate modules. This one here allows you to switch connection points. In this design today, we're actually going to have multiple connection points, and we'll have to toggle between them. This basically does an undo and then a redo. These are pretty typical industry standard icons. Here's a copy, here's a paste, a cut, here's the paste, and then a delete if you need to delete a module. Zoom out, zoom in. Once you have your start and end points, you can do a calculation on pressure drop. This one allows you to get some help from inside chart if you need a review. This is a flag that says, hey, I need some help with my on-site survey. Again, it's flagged to inside chart. This allows you to either hide or display dimensions. you can customize parts using this icon. And then this allows you to export your drawing to either PNG format, a PDF format, or a Word format. And then finally, next, we'll get you from the ISO screen to the pick list screen. Over on the right, again, this information will fill in as we go, but it allows you to toggle between English and metric units. You can, each particular module, you can have no display, or you can have it display the part number, or you can have it display the dimension. This is kind of handy for installations. And then here you'll basically be told the lead time and the price, and then this will refresh the price just in case we've had some pricing changes. So you'll see more values fill in here as we're doing the design. Okay, so with that introduction, we'll start drawing. Again, I had mentioned that I like to work left to right, and I'll toggle to the isometric sketch here. So we're going to be doing the bulk tank first with its MPT connection. We'll be working left to right and up. Okay, I'll toggle back. So we want the starting point to be an MPT connection. I click on the grid where I want it. I want to designate that that's 1 inch per my drawing or my design. I'm going to call it a bulk tank. And I'm going to designate an initial pressure of 50 psi. So you can see it put the bulk tank in there. This is basically the view of the image. My next section, if I go back to my configuration sketch, item 2 here is really 8 feet of flex. So I'll add that. Remember that the 8 feet includes both the starting dimension and the elbow dimension. So there's a little bit of room that it gets taken up by those. So I'm going to put my, I'll basically put my piece of flex in there. I know that I'm going from an MPT to a male bayonet. So MPT by male bayonet. And I'm going to put it in there as a straight. I can also put it in there as an elbow. If I put it in as an elbow, I have to designate how, where the bent length is going to be. But we'll keep it as a straight. Okay, so now that we have the straight, we need to then put in the shortest elbow we can, because we're trying to get to 8 feet here. I'm going to go actually up with that in the Z direction, so positive Z. I'll put that in there. If I'm not sure about the isometric direction, I can use this 90-degree rotate button. Some people struggle with XYZ 3 dimensions, so this should help you. Also notice now that I'm at 8 feet. So going back to my grid, I've got 8 feet here. So essentially, I'm matching up my dimensions. Okay, the next module is item 3, which is a 10-foot straight. I'm going to be going up 10 feet. So I'll click on my straight modules, on my 10-footer, and add that. Okay, so back to my sketch, another 90-degree elbow at the top. So go back to my elbows, pick my shortest elbow, and remember it's now going 90 degrees this direction, which is the plus X direction. I'll hit OK there. Alright, back to my sketch. And I got another 90 degree here. I'm gonna be penetrating the wall with that, so I need to make sure that this leg of my 90 is long enough to get through the wall. Okay, so pick another 90. Now I'm going to be going in the positive Y direction. Okay. My next module is this female, male, male key. Okay, before I add my T, just a little bit about the grid here. Understand that this grid is not to scale. Basically, by us not having it to scale, it allows us to put, to fit all of the modules on one piece. One thing that I can do is add this dimension. If I wanted to see, like, what the dimension of each part is, I can toggle that. I can also display the part number of each piece. That by having the part number, that will help you in the installation. I could print this isometric grid out and know that I have to install this part number and then this part number. I usually keep it at none, because it gets pretty cluttered. But of course, I can see my overall dimensions here. Also notice over here on the right, now that we've got this isometric grid populated, I can see each part number. I can see the smart number of it. I can see the weight here. I can also click on the OMD drawing, which gives me lots of detail for that particular part number. I can also click Calculate Price. When I do a Calculate Price, it'll show me, here's the price for this particular elbow. It's at $1,160. I can get it with my discount. It's $1,040 some dollars. I can also see that my overall price of my system here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. I'm now added up to this price of $70.95 or a discount price of $63.85. And I can have this system in 4 to 6 weeks. So just wanted to take a little break here from drawing and help you to understand the information over here on the right. If I click on a specific module, it'll give me the detail for that particular part. So this piece is straight pipe, 120 inches long, it's 1 inch size. Again, here's the OMD drawing for that particular part if I need some details. 4 to 6 weeks, and then there's the price. So just again, wanted to digress a little and give you some explanation on this right hand. Okay, so now we're ready to add our T. So I click on the T, I can go from the elbow to the T selections. Just to remember, here's my isometric sketch, and we are now picking out item 4, which is the T, 1 inch by 1 inch and a half, female, male, male, MVIP T, and we're going to be basically placing that in a negative direction being down. Okay, so here's my female, male, male T. Remember that it's a reducing T in the negative T direction. And I can rotate that just like I could the elbow. If you struggle with the direction of the branch versus the run. So here I now have it facing in the negative Z direction. And at this point I need to put on my item 5, which is the 1/2 inch drop. So make sure that here's how you select between the application points. I can either click on this one. The active one is the blue one, or I can pick on this one. So I've got this one active. I'm going to put my liquid drop in there. Okay, so there now I've got my drop. And then what I basically want to do is really to terminate this run now, because I'm to my application point, customer application point. So I'm going to put that in here, a use point. We'll call it oxygen number 1, and we'll say that that needs to have a flow rate of, I'll just say 2 GPM. Okay, so that basically terminates this leg. We've got a start point and an end point. We then need to switch application points to active application points. And here I will go to, see now I'm back here, item 6, which is my 1 by 10 foot straight. So let me add that. I'll go get a straight module that's 10 feet long. Okay, I'll zoom in here. I just want to make sure everything's visible. The next item is item 7, which is a 5 foot long straight. So we'll pick that. Okay, then we're going to be going to another T, and that's going to be a reducing T as well. So we'll go to T, reducing, and the run of that's the positive Y, so that's correct. Okay, I got to terminate this leg as well, and to do that I'm going to need to add some flex. Item 10, I've basically got 10 feet of flex here. So I have my flex module, 10 feet, and I'm going to be terminating that with an MPT connection. So I'll pick the 10 foot MPT. We'll call that, I'll just demo elbow for you here real quick. We'll say that that's going to bend at 60. You can kind of see how it's bending down at 60. Okay, and that's basically going to be then our second custom application point. So now I need to define that. So we'll call this oxygen number 2. Help me spell here, and we'll say that that's 1 GPM. Okay, so now I've really defined my start point and my 2 end-use applications. Once I finish my design, I can then do a pressure drop calculation. Okay, so now we'll add the cryo vent. The cryo vent we have specified here, item 10 on the list. Actually, it's item 9. And it has it's a horizontal cryo vent with an MPT connection. So I'll find that. Horizontal cryo vent at the MPT. I'll add that to it. And that basically completes our system. Alright, so there's a couple of things I can do now that I have a complete system. Again, the complete system has a start point, and then it has termination points. So if you notice now, when I hover here, the pressure drop is not shown. It just says that it's uncalculated. So I can come up here to my icon, my pressure drop icon, and I can click that, and it will now indicate, if I click on my application point, I can see that I have a pressure drop of 2.66 psi here at oxygen number 2, and at oxygen number 1 I have a 3.3 psi pressure drop. So now that basically rounds out my system. I want to see what its price is. I can click on calculate price. So you can have this system in 4 to 6 weeks. Its price is $17,205 for list, and it's $15,484 for with your established discount. Okay, a couple more points here before we move on. I want to show you how you can modify this drawing if you need to. So for example, let's say something changed, something happened, the layout of the building is different, whatever. So let's say I got to go in and modify this second application point. I can delete that particular module. I've got to kind of work backwards here. Let's say now that I no longer want this 10-foot piece of flex here. I'll delete that. Okay, then I will add, I'm going to add a straight module. Let's say I'll add a 10-foot, but let's say I don't want it to be 10 feet. Let's say that this straight, I just can't have it 10 feet, it's got to be a different length. Well, I can do some customization here. So I can go in and click on Customize Part, and it's going to let me do a couple things here. I can either have, I can specify a different outer construction here. I can specify a certification test if I need it. I can also, this is probably the most common one, is I can change the length. So let's say instead of 120 inches that I need it to be 149 inches. So, and instead of rigid, I want it to be well, since it's rigid, I'll keep it rigid, I guess. Say I want X-ray on that too. So I'll hit OK. Now notice that this particular piece is red. The reason being is that it's quote-unquote been customized. I can calculate, I can click on that, and notice that it's 149 inches now instead of the original 120. I can still, of course, terminate it with an application point. And we'll call that oxygen number 2 with a flow rate of 1 GPM. Okay, so that's all terminated, and I can do my scene, pressure drop calcs, etc. But this just wanted to show you how you can get in there and customize. It will also calculate the price of that if I hit calculate price. Typically, when there's a customization of a module, there's a 20% upcharge. So we really encourage you to use as many standard modules as possible. So this price is this particular one is pricing out at $15.72 with at list, and which is $14.8 at discount. So just wanted to demonstrate to you how customization works, and that basically concludes this part of the drawing screen. This concludes our tutorial on the drawing screen. Our next tutorial is 07, the pick list.